going to engage with. Scanning, again, lots of scanning tools out there available. One of the most popular is, for instance, Nmap, which is, it's not doing any type of penetration exercise at all. It's just pulling back information that I might find useful later, right? Now, we still consider this more in the pre-attack phase, even though you have now begun actively pinging into a network. And this is a phase that you need to be extremely careful because most modern networks, most modern enclaves are going to be able to detect invasive scanning, right? And you know, we kind of put in the category of invasive scanning, you know, just turning on Nmap, giving it an IP address range, and you know, lighting up all of the flags, right? And you know, when you light up all the flags, we call that an Xmas scan, you know, or a Christmas scan, because you are going to light up all the alerts on an IDS for sure. If you just throw a scanner like Nmap at a network and just start scanning. The key here again is in this phase, in this pre-attack posture, is you don't want them to know that you're there. This takes a lot of patience, much like there's a lot of patience required in the reconnaissance phase. It can take months to gather all the information that you feel you're going to need to execute the attack. The scanning phase can also take months to execute well, because you don't want to trip their IDSs or any other devices and appliances they may have on their network to your presence. So to do this, you know, again, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of skill, just kind of understanding IP addressing, ports and protocols, and understanding operating systems, right? So you know, if I'm at the high level, right, we identify that as footprinting the network, which in general, I just want to know IP, you know, try to find IP address range, available ports and protocols that are active on the network, what things are answering back to me. And then I'll go more into fingerprinting when I start doing little, you know, deeper scans into identifying what type of operating systems that they're using, what are the patch levels of those operating systems, being able to identify whether or not there, you know, may or may not be a system or a particular operating system that isn't patched, or possibly I know of a 0-day that they have not addressed yet, something like that, right? So once you get a little deeper, you know, then, you know, just the, you know, the network layer, start getting into the operating system, we identify that as fingerprinting. Now, the same tools available to you as an ethical hacker are the exact same tools the bad guys use to do what they're doing. Like I said, again, this is the techniques and the tools are identical. The only difference that you identify is within the intent, right? Now, information extraction. Information extraction sounds like something that it is not. All of these activities thus far fall under the term information extraction. I'm not actually pulling data off of the network. I'm only collecting what is being broadcast at that point. It's not that I'm actually pulling and exfiltrating data. Now, all I'm doing is pulling what's being broadcast on the network. That, you know, depending on how diligent the network architect is of any one organization, it's there to be discovered. You just kind of have to know how to do it. So understanding each of these is kind of the meat, right, of what separates you know, good ethical hackers and okay ethical hackers. Knowing how to do each one of these techniques, right, in the pre-attack phase, port scanning and sniffing phase, and then information extraction phases. This is where we kind of make our money, if you will, because each element is as important as the next, because it's opening up a roadmap for you. It's slowly, and I kind of akin it to there was a game that I used to play on my phone while sitting in airports. I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, I'll think of it eventually. It never showed me the entire map of this world that I was navigating through. It would only show me a piece of the map as I solved puzzles along the way. And once I solved another puzzle, it would open up another piece of the map, like, clouds would disperse or whatever. And it would show me another piece of the map. And, ultimately, by the time you get to the end, you get to see the entire map. That's what each one of these phases are doing for you. You have to solve the puzzle in the prior phase to be able to move into the next phase. This isn't just haphazardly throwing a bunch of things at a network and kind of hoping that it produces result. It is a very methodical way of working. This is where, for instance, I find amusing and also frustrating, because it gives the wrong impression often with a lot of the movies, the hacker movies, that make it look like something that it's not, right? If you've ever seen, I think one of my favorite examples of that is no way how in the world how it happens, right, is the movie Swordfish, right? It looked really cool with, a bunch of 46-inch screens with all these, kind of Hydra things going on in every screen. And, he's hacking into 256 AES with a logic bomb. And yeah, so that's not how that happens, like, ever. But it looked cool on the screen. But that's what people think what we do, right? And I will admit, at some level, as I was entering into kind of this phase of my life, I kind of thought that that's what I was going to get to do. No one told me that I'd be sitting just simply collecting data for a year on a target to ultimately craft an attack that may or may not be successful, right? But attention to detail was taught and learned throughout my exposure to this in the beginning phases